The summer sun bathed the suburbs in golden light as Emily carried groceries up the driveway of her two-story home. To her neighbors, her life looked picture perfect. She had a loving husband, Mark, who seemed to dote on her endlessly, and a family that adored her. Their marriage had started with fireworks, late-night drives, whispered promises, and a wedding day that felt like the beginning of forever. Emily believed she had found the kind of love that novels and movies tried to capture but never quite could. And at the heart of her happiness was not just Mark, but her younger sister, Lily. They had grown up inseparable. Emily the protector, Lily the dreamer. Even after Emily married, she made sure Lily was always welcome in her home. Dinners, movie nights, holidays, Lily was there. To Emily, it was a blessing. She had her husband and her sister under the same roof, two of the people she trusted most in the world. But sometimes, what looks perfect from the outside hides fractures invisible to the eye. The first crack appeared subtly. Emily noticed how Mark and Lily laughed at inside jokes she didn't understand, their eyes meeting just a second too long. She brushed it off. They were family, after all. Then came the late-night texts. Emily would wake in the middle of the night to see Mark smiling faintly at his phone. When she asked who it was, he would mutter, "Just work," and roll over. Lily, too, started changing. She became secretive, more distant, skipping their regular sister brunches with vague excuses. When Emily pressed her, Lily snapped in ways she never had before, her eyes flickering with something Emily couldn't name. At first, Emily convinced herself it was nothing. She told herself she was paranoid, that her love was strong, that her sister's loyalty was unshakable. But deep down, her heart began to whisper what her mind refused to believe. Emily tried harder, desperate to restore the warmth she felt slipping through her fingers. She planned romantic dinners for Mark, only for him to cancel with claims of late meetings. She called Lily, begging for sister nights, but Lily declined again and again. The once unbreakable trio was crumbling, and Emily stood in the middle, holding the pieces alone. Her suspicions deepened one evening at a family barbecue. She caught Mark and Lily standing close by the kitchen, their voices low, their bodies angled in intimacy that wasn't meant for brother-in-law and sister-in-law. When they noticed her watching, they pulled apart too quickly, their smiles too forced. Emily's chest tightened as a cold wave of realization crashed over her. Still, she clung to denial, because what was the alternative? That her husband, the man she trusted with her life, and her sister, the woman she loved since childhood, could betray her? That kind of truth could shatter a soul. The truth came not with a bang, but with the silence so heavy it suffocated her. One night, Mark claimed he was working late, and Lily said she was staying with friends. But something gnawed at Emily's heart, relentless and unshakable. Against her better judgment, she got in her car and drove across town. She didn't have an address, just a suspicion, a pull that guided her to a small boutique hotel tucked away from the main roads. And there, in the dimly lit parking lot, she saw them, Mark and Lily, together, their hands entwined, their heads pressed close as they laughed softly, the intimacy undeniable. Emily froze, her entire body trembling. She wanted to scream, to run, to wake up from the nightmare unfolding before her eyes. But she stayed, hidden in the shadows, watching the two people she loved most betray her in the most devastating way imaginable. Her chest ached, her breath caught, her soul splintered. She confronted them later, unable to hold it inside any longer. Mark stammered, Lily wept, but their words meant nothing. "It just happened," Mark whispered, the same hollow excuse Ava had once heard in another story. But Emily knew the truth. Betrayal is never an accident. It is built on choices, one lie stacked on another, until the weight of it crushes everything beneath. The days that followed were a blur of tears and fury. Emily locked herself in her room, ignoring Mark's pleas from the other side of the door, deleting Lily's endless texts, begging for forgiveness. Her once warm home felt like a graveyard, filled with memories that mocked her. She tore photos from the walls, shredded love letters, smashed wedding gifts. Every corner of her life seemed poisoned. At night, she lay awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment of her marriage and every memory with her sister, now twisted into knives. Was it her fault? Was she blind? Had love made her a fool? The questions haunted her until exhaustion pulled her into restless sleep, where nightmares mirrored her reality. But beneath the rubble of despair, a flicker of something else began to grow. Rage, yes, but also resolve. Weeks turned into months, and slowly, Emily began to rise. She filed for divorce, the papers signed with trembling hands, but a heart that knew she deserved better. She cut ties with Lily, her voice steady as she said goodbye to the sister who had chosen betrayal over blood. It hurt, God, it hurt, but it was necessary. She poured herself into work, into friendships she had neglected, into hobbies that had once brought her joy. She took long walks at dawn, breathing in the crisp air, reminding herself she was still alive. Therapy helped her untangle the knots of guilt and shame, reminding her that their choices were not her burden to carry. The first time she smiled again, really smiled, it surprised her. It was over coffee with a friend, a small joke that made her laugh until tears streamed down her face. But these tears were different. They weren't born of pain, they were proof of survival. Years later, Emily stood taller, stronger. She no longer flinched at the memory of that night in the hotel parking lot. The scars were still there, yes, but they had become part of her story, not the whole of it. She had built a new life, one filled with honesty, friendship, and self-love. One afternoon, she saw Lily again by chance, walking hand in hand with Mark. Their faces were tired, lined with regret. They looked smaller somehow, weighed down by the burden of their choices. Emily didn't stop. She didn't confront. She simply walked past them, her chin high, her spirit untouchable. Because in the end, betrayal had not destroyed her. It had forged her into someone unbreakable, someone who knew her worth, someone who no longer needed silent vows from others, because she had made the loudest vow to herself: never again. And so, if you've ever been betrayed by those you trusted most, remember Emily's story. Sometimes betrayal comes not from strangers, but from the people closest to your heart. It shatters, it wounds, it leaves scars, but it also teaches. It teaches you that love is not about blind loyalty. It is about truth. And the greatest vow you can ever take is the one you make to yourself: to rise, to heal, and to never let betrayal define you.